Hey everyone, welcome into another episode of Planet Zoo. Today we're going to be reviewing the most recent DLC from Frontier, and that is the Zookeepers Animal Pack, which is set to release on October 15th. With it, you're going to get 7 animals and some really nice scenery items, which we'll go over that in a second. I want to start with the animals. Mostly because that's my lowest area of expertise. But I must say, we're kind of at the end of the game here in terms of development support. But they really did a nice job with these. It's something that they probably could have phoned in a little bit, or maybe there was a temptation to. But I think these models look really, really nice. We'll start here with the African spurred tortoise. This is something that I actually will be able to add to Tivoli Zoo. There's a little area outside of Predator Ridge in the real zoo where they have these guys, and I never took the time to put it in there just because we didn't have the animal, and now this gives me a good reason to go back and just add one more little tiny exhibit on top of that area. So looking forward to implementing them into Tivoli Zoo. This is one that I know it seems like everyone is very, very excited about having in the game, which is the Palace Cat. Again, with my limited knowledge, I think these are very well done. I'm going to the camera mode here. Something that I've noticed, at least in my opinion, we got some poop there, over the course of the development of the game has been how much better the fur textures have gotten on these animals. I think it's really nice. I know some people might say that's a little bit too puffy, but I think it's a really nice texture look. It doesn't just look like it's sitting flat on the animal. So that is the second of the 7 animals. Next is baboons, and this is another one that I will thankfully be able to implement into Tivoli Zoo as well in the primate panorama. So this one has tetanus. Awesome. So very, very pleased to see these be added to the game as well. I'm gonna go ahead and pause it because everything's breaking down all around. But yeah, these guys also look great, and I'm looking forward to getting them into the zoo. And then another one here, the Marquee, which it sounds like these are not super common in a lot of zoos, but have been a requested addition. Probably not something that I'll be able to implement into Tivoli, but the models again on these are really, really well done. The horns on them are just incredible on the males, and then look at the female model here. Again, really, really well done. If I could get some better lighting on this one. There we go. Yeah, really, really well done. Again, they could have easily phoned this in, and they decided, not to keep the quality that they've been developing. And then another very common one that I've seen in many zoos is the Dick. So this is one that pretty much any area that you would find these guys in. I think where's the zoo thing on them? Zoopedia. Let's see if they have done. Yeah, no benefit from sharing, which I have seen. I'm pretty sure in zoos these guys be in habitats with others. So maybe that just needs to be updated. And then the Safika, I think that's right. Sifaka, yeah. I need Eben here to keep me on the straight and narrow when it comes to the animals. Very unfamiliar with these guys personally, but let's see here. Where are they? All right, so in Madagascar, so these are something that I might be able to implement into the primate panorama as well. But again, the fur texture is really nice. These animations, I don't believe we've seen those on other animals, but maybe I'm just haven't seen that since I'm mostly playing on pause these days. But really well done. And then another one that I know people were really really excited about was the spectacled bear. These guys look really, really well done. Again, props to, just the texture of the fur on these. I think these models are really, really great. I know the hardcore zoo purists can probably find things to nitpick, but I'm a good example when it comes to animals of kind of appealing to the layman and not getting too hung up on every little minute detail. Something to keep in mind as we watch the development of Planet Coaster as well is that there's limited resources for every developer. They're fully capable of nailing every little detail if unlimited time and money were available to them, but it's not. And so for me, from a layman's perspective, I think all of these models look really, really great. And if you are someone who plays zoo, wanting to have access to as many species as possible, this certainly would be worth picking up and adding to your zoo. So get that out of the way. All right, now that we won't be looking at the animals, we'll go ahead and pause the game and get into the scenery. So this comes with 95 scenery pieces, which obviously we're getting the animal signs for these guys. I really, really wish that, who knows, this may not be the last DLC. I have no inside knowledge or anything like that, but if it is the last DLC, it would have been nice to have gotten these art styles for every single one of the animals in the game. They're just so well done and exactly the type of thing that you would see in real zoos, and they're a perfect blend of kind of that realism and the Planet universe aesthetic, and so I love these animal signs every time they come out. I'm sure you get reward statues for all of these animals. The only one that showed up for me was the tortoise, so maybe you unlock the other ones as you get them. I'm not sure. But one thing I noticed about this tortoise is the texture is really great, so I went ahead and sunk some of them into, I'm going to go ahead and get into the building mode. I went ahead and sunk some of them into the ground here to mimic rock. Probably not the most efficient use of that asset in terms of performance for your file, but if you really wanted to get some rock texture in there, they certainly can add some additional detail to the stuff we already have in the game. Also, we get these buntings, so you get straight and curved. These are flexi color as well, so you can go in and change these out if you want. For a performance standpoint, I might actually go into the Toyota Elephant Passage and swap these out for the custom flags that are in there that Carlos made. They're made out of font pieces and are pretty piece heavy, so I might go in and swap those out just to try to cut down on any performance issues when Tivoli finally gets released. Then you get these lamps. So all of these are lights or lanterns. These ones you cannot, so you can turn this one off. You cannot turn the light leaf off. You can turn the center of the flowers off, so the centerpiece can go into, any of these flower models here. And maybe that, let's see, maybe that is the piece that lights up. Let's look and see. It's hard to, maybe they don't light up. It's kind of hard to tell. Let's take a look. Let's copy and move this out by itself. Okay, so just the centerpiece lights up there, not the main flowers themselves. So those you can turn off, which is great. These lanterns you cannot. They're just stuck in the on position. These guys are amazing. These little lanterns. These are perfect gift shop items. So if you're like me and you've got lots of stuff in different gift shops everywhere, you can start spamming these around, and they do have the option to turn off the light mode as well, which is great. So those will be, I'm sure there will be some extremely creative ways that people think of using these flowers inside of their files, and even this piece, if you colored it black, you could kind of make it look like a speaker or something like that in the ceiling. So lots of creative options there. Then you get this Marquee Set here. So if you want to make some tents and things like that, or even covers for seating in terms of like an animal show or something like that. These are great additions. This is the blueprint, that just so you can see what all of the pieces are intended to do, but they all do come as separate individual pieces. And again, they're probably going to be extremely versatile in terms of how you use them, especially these wall pieces. They're very, very thin. They have a very faint sort of ripple in them from the texture, and then the appearance of fabric rather, and then the texture on them is really, really well done. So I could see these being put up against a fence. Sometimes they have those chain link fences that have privacy stuff on them. You make it a go away green color, and it's a little dark. Go away green, and you're off to the races. So lots of potential uses for those as well. Before we get into the smaller details, you've got this great curtain piece, another wall trim here, which all of these, just kind of thinking through some options. You can make custom awnings for your buildings now. I wish that there was maybe, I think the European set has kind of stuff like this that has the striped color, because these are just solid colors. There's no stripes or anything like that. So that would have been maybe a nice feature to have, but either way, I see these being extremely versatile for people to use. We'll come into the additional set support pieces for the Marquee Set. So you have these really, really thin ropes, which are flexi-color as well. So you can change those to mimic, cables and wires on fencing for like elephant habitats, or hot wires to keep animals in places. And they come all the way down to a 0.5 meter version. So these are going to be extremely useful. There's also another rope coil, which, really beneficial for these posts here. So tons of uses for these potentially with this new post set. So again, comes all the way down to a 0.5 meter, all the way up to a 4 meter. Again, fully flexi color, so you could use these as fence posts or things like that, or bollards even if you wanted to. So tons of versatility and options there. This piece is just one. So if you really do want to give the look of the setup marquee, you don't have to fiddle around with making this. They did give you that piece, which is nice. And then again, you've got all of these ropes that are going to be extremely useful for some versatility. And then these are flexi color as well, these maypoles. They're probably fairly similar to some of the stuff that we have in terms of size. I don't imagine many people will use these unless you're gonna, do the old school barber shop thing here. Unless you're making a barber shop or something like that. I don't know, many situations where you might use all of these color variations inside of that, but a really nice metal piece here, or two pieces I should say, that these are always useful to try to make sort of a bronze or a gold look. If you want to have these ribbons are also really nice. I'm sure there will be tons of creative ways people utilize these. Honestly, as I'm going through this, I'm just hoping we get this kind of stuff inside of Planet Coaster as well. That's going to be one of the challenges early in that game, is doing creative stuff with the limited number of pieces. But if this is the kind of direction that game goes as well, then I'm very, very excited. This is an awesome piece that I know many people probably have tried to mimic over the course of Planet Zoo, finally getting it at the end. But these wire cables are extremely useful. A metal pole joint here to go with this set. You've got another one of these bases. We kind of have a base similar to this, but it's not metallic in texture or appearance. It's just like a flat finish. And then you've got these poles that go along with that set there. Then these are additional items that are in the DLC. You've got these apples and strawberries are a little bit of a weird one, as they're kind of random to me. But these clouds and the sun, certainly for creating murals, are really, really nice options. We've got these velvet ropes. It comes in a piece that's together or separate, and then it's all fully, you can change the color of pull, and then here you can change the color of not only the connectors but also the rope as well. And then this piece is a Zookeeper umbrella lampshade. So I'm assuming this goes with the with some of the set over there with those flower petals. But again, you could just make your own custom sort of umbrella with these. You can turn the light off if you want on that, and then change the colors to whatever you want to make a nice umbrella for your seating areas and stuff. And then these pieces are included for free. So this is a card sign with large and small version, and I sunk them into the wall. So these are going to be extremely useful for creating custom signs. So if I delete that, you can see they're just sunk into the wall there. You can change the font style to any of the options that are available to you. But really awesome addition to have these for those custom signs on the side of buildings. This is the kind of stuff that I hope we get more of in Planet Coaster as well. Just these small pieces that could be used to create all kinds of custom sign work on the side of buildings. And then you also get these extremely thin strings as a part of the free update. Again, very useful for many purposes. Hot wires, fencing, things like that. So it's kind of interesting that those were added at the end here, but I know many people will be really happy to see something that small and thin for their projects. You also get these apple trees for free. I know that there's always give and take with these. My only personal gripe is just because I like to use the trees to mimic many different species of trees. Would have liked to see this without the apples inside of the tree. But they're still really nice in terms of their scale and the canopies and the foliage texture. I really like them. And then you do get these individual apples as a part of the DLC as well. So those are all of the pieces that come with it. It's a really surprisingly nice collection of versatile items inside of this DLC. And so, normally when we get these animal packs, it's just the animals, right? And maybe there's a couple trees and bushes or something like that in it that are included. But these 95 pieces are really welcomed. They're going to be really versatile for people in the game. I just wish we had maybe gotten them a little bit sooner. My only other feedback is, this sort of Zookeeper pack would have been the perfect opportunity to introduce more utilitarian items like carts. And, instead of us having those high piece count, golf carts that are all around our zoos, or even cars and trucks and things like this would have been the perfect opportunity to introduce those. So Planet Coaster, when it was developed, I think it was the Movies DLC, and that's not the actual technical name, but it was that DLC that finally gave us cars and vans and things like that for the game. And this would have been the perfect opportunity to inject that kind of stuff for those of us that like to kind of create a world outside of the zoo, and then even for the zookeepers themselves to have things like golf carts and little, maintenance trucks and things like that. So that's the only miss to me, but it's being nitpicky because they're clearly at the end of the development cycle for Planet Zoo. There may be future DLCs, but it would seem like they're ready to move on to Planet Coaster and start developing or allocating most of their resources to the development of that game. So that being said, if you're listening, Frontier, there should be an opportunity for like a Park Keepers DLC with Planet Coaster, where I know the community would go crazy for that kind of stuff. Little maintenance carts, tons of planters, foliage, hoses, bits and bobs, things like that. HVAC, stuff like AC units and stuff like that. I mean, that kind of kit, I know it probably seems like would not have mass appeal. I think that it would, and people would love to have those types of pieces. So that sounds like a great idea for a DLC, a Park Keepers DLC. So Anyway, for me, this is I always try to rank these DLCs in terms of like a must-have, and then kind of the next tier below that would be if you're looking for a good set that's got good pieces and is worth your money after you've kind of purchased the must-owns. I would put this in that second tier. It's probably not a must-own at this stage of the game, but it is certainly if you want any one of these single species, it's probably worth it for your zoo. In terms of the small versatile scenery items, if you're a player like me who loves to detail, I would buy this set. This would actually be a must own for me personally because of the way that I build and having access to some of these smaller pieces. But if you're more of a less detailed builder, then this probably drops below that must own into maybe the next best option after you've already purchased the sort of top tier DLCs. So anyway, thank you so much to Frontier for giving me early access to take a look at the DLC. In terms of an update on Tivoli Zoo, should be having another episode, part 2 of Ricey's episode actually out this week. And then looking forward to recording with Beezy as he's wrapped up his work in the primate panorama. I've got Eben in the file also helping me to tidy some things up and finish, and then Christina and Haribo, I always say that wrong, are also helping me with a couple of items in that primate panorama with the goal. I don't think there's any chance I'll finish Tivoli by the time Planet Coaster comes out, but my goal now is kind of by Thanksgiving to have Tivoli Zoo wrapped up and on the workshop, and then I will likely be moving on to almost strictly Planet Coaster content. And then at some point, if City Skylines ever figures out their assets on their system, custom assets, I might start dabbling in that as well. But it's been great. I've loved Planet Zoo. It's been a ton of fun to build in and kind of create a zoo that's idealized version of a master plan. And that being said, I'm definitely looking forward to hopping into Planet Coaster. There's just something about the Planet Coaster game that feels a little more alive to me personally in terms of, creating these scenes and these areas that have charm, and you see the guests enjoying what you build. It's just a ton of fun to get out there and make something creative in. So anyway, thank you guys so much for watching the review here today. Again, I'd put this kind of that step below the must own unless you're a highly detailed person or you're big with the animal options, then this would be a must own for you. So thanks so much. I look forward to seeing you in another episode of Tivoli Zoo. Take care.